In the last class, we have seen one of the variant of relational calculus, that is tuple relational calculus, right? So in tuple relational calculus, a variable is a tuple. Okay, meaning that, so we are going to write the tuple relational calculus in the form of the output t. It has to satisfy a predicate called p of t. Whatever the output that we are trying to expect, it should have to follow compulsory predicates, right? So predicates can be contains any kind of connectives, which can be or connective and not, so, something like implication, etc. And also we are going to have quantifiers like for all x, there exists x, all those things we have seen in the previous class. And also we have seen how to write a tuple relational query for a single uh, English sentence. Right? For example, I want to find out the employees whose age is greater than 50. How we are going to write the query? For example, there is a having a tuple called e, which is I am expecting as output. This tuple compulsory has to exist in the table called employee table, and it has to satisfy one more condition, that is e dot age should be greater than 50. This is the simple TRC query we are going to write. Okay, and if you are able to observe the another kind of variant of relational calculus, that is domain relational calculus. There is no difference, there is not much difference between these two. In domain relational calculus, a variable is a kind of a field, or I can call it as an attribute, or I can call it as again a domain also, meaning that simply every column I can call it as a field, right? Technically I will call it as a field only. Okay, meaning that if you are trying to write any kind of DRC query, it is also following the same thing, but here we are expecting a tuple as a variable, whereas coming to here we are expecting a field as a output, right? Field D, and that field has to satisfy compulsory predicate. Like for example, I want to find out the employees whose age is greater than 50. The same code I would like to write in a domain relational calculus, right? So in TRC we are going to write in the form of tuples, whereas coming to in DRC we are going to write in the form of domains. Means whatever the attributes are there, we are going to represent our query in the form of attributes, right? So meaning that every attribute I am going to rename as some name. For example, let me take the employee table. If I take the employee schema contains, I hope you remember, employee ID, I can call it as serial ID, and I may have employee name, employee salary, employee age. Assume that these four fields are there. Four fields are there. For these four fields, we are going to give some rename. For example, I am calling it as A, B, C, and D. Okay. Now your query will like this. So what is the output you are trying to expect? You are trying to expect all employees. Have you specified any particular attribute? No. So as you are trying to expect all employees, in tuple relational calculus, what you are going to do? We are going to simply write the respective tuple directly. Whereas coming to domain relational calculus, you should not take the tuple directly. Instead, we are going to take all the attributes A comma B comma C comma D. Indirectly, I am saying that I am collecting all attributes, which indirectly I am calling it as tuple only. Right? But the representation is completely different. This is what I am expecting. Okay, and these has to compulsory belongs to what? Employee table. Employee of A comma B comma C comma D, and what is the alternative variable for age? Age is what? D. So that D has to satisfy greater than 50. That's it. This is the way we are going to represent domain relational calculus. There is no much difference between this DRC as well as TRC, right? So coming to the real world, TRC is used for TRC and DRC are kind of formal languages. With the help of TRC formal languages, we are going to write SQL queries, because SQL queries are completely pure English format. Whereas coming to DRC, the implemented language is query by example language, right? So these two are belongs to relational databases only. Relational databases, I think in the last class also I have explained, right? SQL and QB are both are implemented language for uh, RDBMS, where TRC is the formal language or base language for SQL, and DRC is the base language for QB. Okay, fine. Meaning that here also if you take predicates, predicates is a combination of again connectives and quantifiers Okay, for example, let's see one query. I want to find out all the sailors. I want to find all sailors whose rating is greater than 7. How we are going to write the query? First, you have to give alias names to each and every attribute of the table. So here I need to have all the sailors. All the sailors means they will contain all the attributes also, right? So for example, if you look into the schema of sailors, scalar, I think there is a having SID, S name, SH, any other thing is there? Rating, very good. Rating is there. Rating is there, right? For all these four, I am going to give some alias name. It's not only meant for like ABCD, it will be like T1, T2, T3, T4, or it will be anything, right? So I am trying to get in output all the fields ABCD, and these have to belongs to sailors. See, I am going to write in another representation. Finally, the meaning is same, right? And what is the name for rating? D. D should be greater than 7. That's it. This is a simple DRC query. Write out the query for another one. Find the names of sailors who reserved boat 103. Right? So here what we are trying to expect? We are expecting names, meaning that single attribute we are expecting. Right? So single attribute means for that can I give some name? I am giving the name as, suppose for example, N. The name of the attribute as N, right? Sailor name, S name as N, I have given, right? And all those things, or else, as I have given the schema there directly, I will take that, right? So what is the name I am expecting? B, and those should be belongs to A, B, C, D, belongs to compulsory sailors, and what you have to do? You have to check in other table. What is other table? Reserves table, right? Reserves table, if you are trying to check, you have to go with basically in relational tuple relational calculus. What you are trying to do? You are trying to check with there exist. If there exist certain fields related to the respective person. So what you are trying to do? You are trying to define like there exist. There exist. There exist what? Boat number. There exists boat number, right? So if I am trying to take the reserves, what field might exist here? Serial ID, BAD, I think day. Very good, right? So for this I am going to give some names like E, F. Okay, fine. Now what I am trying to expect is there should be exist what field? BID. Basically in tuple relation calculus there should be exist reserves table. Here reserves tuple. Here we are trying to check for there exist boat ID. There exists boat ID where E comma F comma F G should belongs to reserves table. Reserves table. And what is the criteria you have to follow? F equal to 103. F equal to 103. We are trying to expect what? Names. Right? Names if you would like to get, we have to combine these two tables. We have to combine these two tables. How we are going to write? A equal to E. A equal to E, right? A means what? SID. E means what? SID. See, I will write a TRC query for this. I am going to get S dot S name, very good, and this S should be belongs to sailors, and there exists a tuple. What is that tuple? R. It has to belongs to reserve stable, and R dot BID. Very good. R dot BID equal to 103, and R dot SID equal to, very good, S dot SID. This is the TRC query and this is the DRC query. That's it. Right? Try to write one more query. Find the sailor names. Find the sailor names who reserved all boats. Who reserved all boats, right? First, try to write the tuple relational calculus query for this. Tuple relational calculus, right? If you are trying to write the tuple relational calculus query, what you are going to do? I am expecting sailor name S dot S name, S dot S name, and compulsory this tuple belongs to sailor stable, and as I am expecting here, who reserved all boats, meaning that we need to find out a sailor who reserved all the boat numbers, right? All the boat numbers means what? For all boats, where B should be belongs to boats. And is there any criteria for this? No. We have to check with only all boats. If they are trying to specify for all boats and red color means what? You have to again filter, right? I am trying to check for all boats. All boats. This should be, there exist what? Reserves, right? There exists a reserves where this tuple also belongs to reserves, and what you have to do now? R dot BID equal to B dot BID, and R dot SID equal to S dot SID. Is it correct? This is a simple TRC query. How we are going to write? This is what was in the previous class also, right? For the same thing, if you would like to write the DRC query, what you have to give? You have to select the direct domain name with the alias, right? For example, S name is, according to the previous slide, it is B, where A comma B comma C comma D compulsory belongs to sailors, and for all, what is this B? B is a kind of a tuple which is belongs to boats table. Why you are checking that tuple should have to belongs to boats table? But here what we need to check? Here we need to check boat IDs. What is the name for boat IDs? I think we haven't given, right? So for example, if you are going to take, right, F is for reserves. F is alias name for boat ID attribute which is present in the reserves table, and there is actually boats table is there. Boats table is there, right? Boats table having boat ID, boat color, boat name, right? For this I am going to give JK and L. JK, right? Now for all, what you have to check here? For all J, meaning that we are trying to check for J. Boat IDs we are trying. So there should be boat ID exist where I am trying to define J comma K comma L should be belongs to boats. Now there exists R. R means what? R is a kind of a tuple belongs to reserve table. Belongs to reserve table, right? But in the reserve table, what we are trying to check? We are trying to check for BID. We are trying to check for BID. So we have to give the name. What is BID here now? BID is F. BID is F. There exists F where I think E, F, G belongs to reserve table, and R dot BID means what? F equal to B dot BID is what? J. Very good. And R dot SID E, and equal to S dot SID. This is the simple DRC query for this. Okay. Nothing we are doing. We are just simply making some alias names, and we are going to write the same as TRC query, right? Okay, okay guys. So here, so we are trying to write the queries with respect to relational algebra, as well as if you look into relational calculus, we are going to write in the form of TRC as well as DRC. But have you got any question like, can we able to write any query what we have written in relational algebra? Can you write the same query in TRC, or can you write the same query in DRC? Yes, we can do, right? Meaning that whatever the queries that we are going to write in relational algebra, the same query we can able to write either in TRC query as well as DRC queries. That's why we can say that the expressive power, the sentence we can call it as expressive power, meaning that expressive power of relational algebra is equal to expressive power of TRC and expressive power of DRC. This is important. So what is the meaning of express power? Whatever the query that we need to write, the same query we can able to write in any kind of language. Any kind of language. Okay. I am trying to write simple query here. Try to observe. Uh, I need to get name of the employee, name of the employee, name of the employee, where sailors of, yes, see, name of the sailor, assume that, right? So we are trying to discuss conversion like company database as well as sailors database. So I am getting like this. So I have written the query like, is this the correct one or not? Basically, what is the meaning of this one? S dot S name sailors of S. What is the meaning of this one? I am not going to have any condition. I am trying to get all the tuples of sailors. That's it. What is the meaning of this one? I don't want to get all the sailors. Instead, I want to get all the remaining things. I want to get all the remaining things, right? All the remaining things means how many? It's not zero, right? It's a universal set. As we're trying to think about formal language, it's a kind of universal set, right? In universal set, if you are going to remove sailors, what about the remaining meaning? All the remaining people who are not sailors. Meaning that this particular query is going to produce infinite number of rows. Infinite number of rows, right? Meaning that when you are trying to write this kind of queries, not related queries, you have to make sure that there should not be related to infinite number of queries, right? So when you are going to write this kind of query, we can call it as unsafe relational queries. Unsafe relational queries. So whenever you are trying to write this kind of queries, you have to compulsory avoid this. What about this one? We can call it as safe relational queries. Okay, there is no problem when it comes with the concept of SQL, but when it comes to the concept of formal language like TRC and DRC, then only we are going to get this problem, because it's a kind of formal thing. We are going to generalize it, right? That's why we are going to get it. So if it is going to, if any kind of a query is going to produce infinite relations as output, then I can call that kind of queries as unsafe related queries. Okay. So this is for today's class.